12. Revelation 17:8 tells us that this king, ruler, once existed and reigned on the earth, and he will ascend out of the bottomless pit. Now that's not a guess, people. That literally tells us that this man, who he is, and the characteristic that they will have. He will ascend out of the pit, out of hell. Now this is not a normal person. This is no normal person. Revelation 17:10 tells us there will be a total of 7 great satanic kings that will rule the Gentile world from the beginning of time to the end. This world leader is one of the first 5 kings, I believe, for sure one of the 7, that were dead when the angel revealed this to John. He once was. And during that time, the angel told him 5 kings have fallen or have already passed and have ruled. And he says this king is one of the seven, the 8th king. This ruler will rise again in some supernatural way and will be one of the 7, but will be the 8th great king. According to the Bible, the coming Antichrist or world leader has to be one of the 5 original kings on earth that has existed in the past and will arise again, mirroring the second coming of Jesus Christ and the coming in the place of Christ. Why are they going to be astonished when they see this man? He is the king who once was and will ascend out of the abyss. As stated in the previous session, I believe this coming leader could be Nimrod. You know, I showed you a little bit, last session. Well, is there a prophecy even today that gives us a hint of this? And I told people, well, we probably carry a prophecy of this king that is going to come in our purses and in our wallets every day. And most people don't even realize what this says or what it means. I don't want to get into all the great detail, but if you look on the back of a $1 bill, or you go and look at the seal of the Great Seal of the United States, what do we see on the back of a dollar bill? We see an uncapped pyramid with an eye on top of that pyramid. The eye represents a pagan deity known to the Greeks as Apollo, known to the Egyptians as Osiris or Horus, the newborn son of God, the risen Savior. His Hebrew name is Abaddon, and this also may refer to Nimrod. Novus Ordo Seclorum is Latin for the new world order of the ages. Annuit Coeptus means our enterprise is crowned with success. E pluribus unum means out of many one. And people, we're led to believe that statement means, well, that we're a nation formed by many ethnic backgrounds. But when you look at that seal and keep everything in perspective, this is talking about a pagan god that is coming back during a time of great chaos and will bring us to a new world order, or a new order of the ages. And the out of many one of one, the e pluribus unum, is really meant to say that this is a man or a god that has been on the earth before. Gee, that kind of sounds like what we just read in the Bible. He is a god that has many names. Wow. And this is right on the back of our dollar bill. This is a Masonic prophecy of a pagan god that is prophesied to rise again during the time of great chaos and bring the world to a new world order. And the other question I need to ask you is, keeping that same concept, and that same character, what do you think the words "in God we trust" mean? And I know when I start talking about stuff like this, I kind of, some people get a little bit offended because they think that I'm, I'm not telling the truth. But people, what God are they talking about? What God are they saying we trust in? And I know they're not talking about the God I trust in, but what is the God that our government trusts in? What is the God that our government has been founded upon? And I think it would blow your mind if you really knew the God that our government was formed on. It's scary, people. It is scary. And I think it would blow most people's mind. And I have got some of this information by a man by the name of Tom Horn. And he has a great book out called Apollyon Rising. And he has some great videos on YouTube. Most people are astounded when they go to Washington, D.C., and they look at the Capitol, if you're allowed to tour the Capitol, and you look up into the dome of the Capitol, and you would think to see some paintings or some murals or frescoes of some friezes of United States history, or something that's related to a founding of our country, or maybe even like St. Peter or the Lord's Supper or something like that. But there isn't anything in the Capitol dome like that. We see all kinds of pagan deities in the dome of the Capitol, like Vulcan and Hermes and all that. We have nothing in the dome of the Capitol. When you look up, you don't see anything that's related to Jesus Christ or the Apostle Paul or St. Peter or Mary or anything like that. Nothing like that is in there. And when you look outside of the Capitol Dome and you look at the Washington Monument, it'll blow your mind of what that Washington Monument is really supposed to represent. And people, it is no mistake that that Washington Monument is 666 feet tall, 555 feet above the ground and 111 feet below the ground. And it is no mistake that each side of the Washington Monument at its base is 666 inches wide, and it forms a square. And, it is amazing to me as you study, all of this is foretelling, prophesying that the world is praying. Many people in the world are praying for this God to come to come and save us during a time of great chaos. And if you study a lot of the other religions of the world and even a little bit of the background of some of the Masons, you find out that they kind of see things backward. They think that this God that is coming is not evil. They think that he is a great Savior. And that's the way he's going to be taken, people, as the Messiah. And he's going to be accepted as the Messiah. And people, the world is being lied to. Sometimes I don't know what movie it was, but sometimes you get to studying things, you just wonder about, who was it that, some movie, or Jack Nicholson or somebody said, you can't handle the truth. And, it's amazing to me that, how stuff. The spiritually immature ain't going to be able to handle this. And I'm sorry, but people need to hear the truth. And I believe this is what's coming. And the whole world is going to be deceived. There is a pagan god, a demon king or a demon god that is coming back. And he is somehow going to possess this man. Or he might be a literal fallen angel. I don't know for sure exactly, but somehow, some way, this man or this spirit is coming up out of the abyss and it's going to inhabit this man. How it's all going to take place, I don't know for sure. I have not figured this out. The other possible scenario would be that this leader will somehow pull off a resurrection event from a deadly head wound. Now, this could happen too. I don't know. But for some reason, one of the reasons that people are going to be astonished of this man is they're going to somehow figure out that he once was alive. And I don't know. I don't know how exactly this is going to unfold, but for some reason, how miraculously this man is going to come back to life again. This demon is going to breathe life back into the man. I don't understand all this. This is a mystery to me, but somehow, some way, this is going to happen. And the whole world is going to be astonished and marvel at the sight of this man. But this is the reason why the Bible tells us several times that he once was, and also tells us several times that he has been healed from a deadly wound. But at any event, verse 3 ends with all of the world wondered after the beast. And I want to move on for now, and we might get to some of this stuff later on. Verse 4. Men worshiped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshiped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can make war against him? People, when they see this man, they're going to marvel at him. They're going to worship him as God. They worshiped the dragon who gave power to the beast. The dragon defined in Revelation 12:9. Need to remember who the beast is and where he comes from. Where does he come from? From out of hell. Verse 5. The beast was given a mouth. Here we go again. This is one of this man's great descriptions. This beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies and to exercise his authority for 42 months. How much more clear does the Bible has to say? We've read 1,260 days. We've read times and a half, 3.5 years. We've read 42 months. How much more literal does the Bible has to be that this is a literal time? The Bible does everything but give us the time in hours and seconds. One of the coming world leaders identities is a mouth speaking great things, blasphemies. And we've read this before, but let's go back to Daniel 7 again. Not only in Revelation, but also in Daniel 7, verse 8. In Daniel 7, verse 8. 7, verse 8. Where are we at here? Verse 8. And while I was thinking about the horns, there before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth that spoke boastfully. Okay, again in verse 20 of that chapter it says, I also wanted to know about the 10 horns on its head, and about the other horn that came up, before which 3 of them fell, the horn that looked more imposing than the others, and that had eyes and a mouth that spoke boastfully. Also, verse 25, it says, he will speak against the Most High and oppress his saints and try to change the set times and laws. The saints will be handed over to him for a time, times, and half of a time. This seems to be something the Bible's making very clear to us. It's one of his characteristics. One seems to get the impression that this ruler is very boastful, possibly very cocky, arrogant, and likes to run his mouth. Power is given to him to continue for 42 months. Let's go to verse 6. He opened his mouth to blaspheme God and to slander his name and his dwelling place and those who live in heaven. Now think about that. He's even blaspheming those who are in heaven. Why in the world would he do that? Blaspheming God is his ultimate goal. He will violently hate everything that God stands for. He will hate Israel, and his goal will be to destroy them from the face of the earth. That's always been his goal. He will even blaspheme against those who dwell in heaven. Remember, I